Huh? Huh? Huh?
Okay.
Now today is yet another exciting figure review, and what we have right in front of us is Inquisitor, aka Inferno, her final form in Dungeon Fighters by Good Smile Company Shanghai. And what makes her a little different from other Good Smile Company figures is that specifically the Shanghai part. This figure's origin comes from China, and there is a controversy when it comes to Chinese manufacturers. For a very long time, a lot of figure collectors would associate Chinese manufacturers with low quality control and lots of paint errors, and even like a drastic difference between the prototype that's advertised and the final product. Unfortunately, Inquisitor was caught in the crosshairs of this stereotype pretty much, that figures that come out of China would be very low quality. So on top of the fact that she's a character from Dungeon Fighters Online, probably what's even more well known at this point is DNF Duel, which is a bit controversial because they're handled by Nexon. They're responsible for some of our favorite games like Maple Story and Maple Story. I don't really know many other Nexon games except for Maple Story, but that is, they're not very well known with handling their IPs very well. So with controversy, a manufacturer that's known for quality control issues, she kind of didn't have a chance when she hit the figure market. Starting out at a price at around $150 USD, with a single ship criteria, which meant that you couldn't do a bulk order for her. So at least for Surface, she costed about $40 USD simply because of her weight. Not many people were excited to spend that much money on a character that, frankly, they didn't know about or they didn't care for because of the manufacturer. So she ended up bidding pretty hard. So at the end of this road, I was able to pick her up for about $70 pre-owned. B plus conditions, so meant that her box was opened but she was never displayed, and a B grade box because that's just how AmiAmi does their grading system. So after shipping and her sale price about $110 USD, really good for a scale figure of her size, which is about 13 inches. We're talking about a very amazing price. You don't really see those prices in 2023 anymore. This figure is fantastic. I really don't understand a lot of the discourse that was going on my figure collection when it had to do with her. A lot of the assumptions about her sculpt came from the fact that she was made by Good Smile Shanghai and not from people actually having a hands-on just understand, like just seeing her in person. And I feel like that does come from the fact that if you look for this particular figure, there is almost no pictures on Google Images. There's no pictures of her being in anyone's collection on my figure collection. And finally, there is no YouTube presence of this figure. There is only one YouTube video that does a review on this figure, and it's a 2-minute slideshow that shows off the prototype pictures, not the picture in real life. The only way to find pictures of her being displayed anywhere in anyone's collection is on Chinese forums, which is just absolutely nuts for me. As I said, I never got to see this figure in a non-prototype version until I got it today. And frankly, I'm blown away by the quality that Shanghai was able to. I'm just blown away by the quality of this figure. Although her face is a little bit of a departure from the more common anime bishoujo faces that we see on a lot of our sculptures, it's still a very nice sculpted face. It looks very close to the original prototype face too. I know there was some comments that said her face looked rounder than in the prototype, which I just don't see. Her features are still pretty sharp for all, they're pretty sharp features. So she has a pretty well-defined face. So I'm not sure where those takes come from. The other things I notice is that she definitely has a lot of distressing on her cloak, on her robes, on her armor. That's all intentional. The way her armor is sculpted, you can see kind of like the battle worn. Like there's like chips in her armor, scuffs, scratches, and those are all sculpted and painted on. The armor has such great texture. I don't feel like some of the angles I'm trying to give the camera really do it justice, because the armor is not just like some shiny metallic silver mess. It's a very intentional weathered look. And I even seen comments that some people didn't like that it wasn't as silver as in the promotional pictures, but I feel like being a darker silver actually elevates her character, since the Inquisitor is an executioner. Her main role is to burn heretics at the stake. So her cloak is covered in the blood of the sinners that she's killed, as well as the ashes of the victims as well. So her armor isn't gonna have a new silvery luster to it. It's gonna have a more darkened luster from the suit, from the cremated bodies that cover her armor. I really do get the full, I feel like I just get the entire character that I experienced in my first playthrough of DNF Duel. A zealot that's on a mission and is just battle worn. Now the axe, not only is the blade covered in blood, but it's also implanted into the base itself. So it kind of shows an effect of the axe is so hot that it's melting the bricks that are stacking to create this base. So, and then it ties into her holding a cross that she could be using to burn heretics with. It's such a fantastic piece. I really do feel like Good Smile Shanghai outdid themselves with the sculpting of this entire figure. And now I really have no gripes with this figure, other than I feel like they cleaned up her face a little too much. From what I could see from her in-game art, she does seem to have more, her face seems to be dirtier, kind of like her being, pretty much her going through war, her having the blood of her enemies on her face and whatnot. I feel like they could have made her look a little less prim and proper, and a little bit closer to kind of this battle-hardened zealot vibe. I'll definitely be displaying her on the same shelf as Jalter from Fate Grand Order, simply because I feel like they have the same vibe going on. While Jalter is a saint who was burned at the stake for being a witch, Inquisitor, on the other hand, is the clergy who is putting sinners on trial and burning them at the stake. So I feel like they have this whole lawful good, chaotic evil vibe going with them, and they would just look really good together. And with that, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for joining me on this review, and I hope it does help you with deciding whether or not you want this figure for yourself. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you liked what you saw today. And as always, thank you for watching. See ya!